was sitting upstairs watching TV at 1934 Lafayette on the second floor by my sister and my brother-in-law Francis and Frank. And I stayed there. That's when I heard the bombing at Pearl Harbor. I was at a young age then at that time, so I didn't realize it too much that it was going on, you know. So. And then when my brother got drafted, then I changed my mind quite a bit, you know, of what was going on. I think I was at the draft board in 1943 in April. I think it was the 15th or the 12th, I'm not positive. So the board was on 119th Street and right just south or east of the Opitz Funeral Home. That's all I know. And the address was a regular tavern it used to be before, and then they turned it into a post where they drafted all the soldiers, the men.
So do you remember the day that they said, okay, your number's up, you're going?
Mm-hmm.
What day was that, and what was that like?
Going into the service? Well, I can't remember that date. It's been a long time ago. It was probably in late April or June or May, in that area, that I went into the service to Camp Grant and Chicago. Well, I went to Camp Grant over in Chicago, and then they put on buses, and we went to the Illinois Central train that was take us down. That was at the locomotives at that time, they were run by coal. And we shipped out to Fort McClellan, Alabama in one day. I think it took us 2 days to get there, you know. So.
What was the conditions on the train like? Was it okay, or was it kind of tight?
It was fairly good. And we ate a lot of smoke. That's all I think it is. When we got to Fort McClellan, Alabama, on that day we got off the train and they took us out to a big parking lot. It was all blacktop, and we wore our winter stuff, and we carried two barracks bags out on this parking lot, and we all sat there and waited for them to disperse us to whichever camp we went to, you know. So. A lot of push-ups and running and a lot of walking. We walked a long ways with full packs and everything, you know. And we ran through certain kind of drills, the bayonet drills and stuff like that, you know. So that's all we practiced. One was my first sergeant was Sergeant Petron. That was his name. Got me for M1 rifle there, right there. That's why I practiced with it all the time. And then I turned it back into the company, and we shipped out with no weapons, just our luggage. You know, so.
How did you like basic training?
That was great. It was a good experience for me. And I came out to be one of the top guys that I became sergeant, temporary sergeant when we went on the train with all the guys, you know. So I did a real good job. We went to Fort Meade, Alabama, or Fort Meade, Maryland, and then we loaded on the train and we shipped to the port, and we loaded on this Liberty ship. We loaded on the boats on October 7th, 1943, to go overseas on a boat, and as a matter of fact, we took us 21 days or something like that to to get to Casablanca. And all those times we were on that boat, we were riding up and down. We were shaking in the waves all over the ocean, and we could walk on the boat, on top of the boat once in a while. You know, they let you get up there and kind of heave your guts out from all that bouncing around it, from what you ate. You know, so we slept on bivouac trench seats that they rigged up on all the boats and everything. We all stayed in there, and we stayed there. And then I went to a bivouac camp, and then from there we were dispersed to different outfits to join the companies.
Tell me about the bivouac camp.
The bivouac camp, that's nothing I want to talk about. And then from there we got transferred on another boat, and we went to Italy. When we ended up in Italy. I know where I landed on Anzio, and I was the first man on the beach. We landed on LCIs, that's landing craft individuals, and on boats, and we hit the shore, and then we advanced about 10 miles inland. When they start shelling us and everything, then we start digging in, and we stayed on the shores. It was not resisted at the time. The Germans were sitting up on top of the hill, and that's when they were watching us coming in and everything. We just dug in and we took our positions of defensive positions. You know, I drank too many foxholes. I lost count of all of them. I dug, and I dug them. They were about four by 3, and I dug them about 5 feet deep, all of them. It was warm at the time. And I used to remember the name of the town that we stayed in. I can't remember it now, right now. So it's been a long time. So. Well, it was constant fighting. We took a bunch of houses at one point, and then in the evening we'd lose them back again the next morning. We'd lose them. We had to move out. And then the following day, we attacked again, and we took over those houses again, you know. So. And we were attacked by tanks and foot infantry, and that's it.
So how long did that whole process take before you guys really had your position secured and had pushed the Germans back?
Maybe 3-4 months in that area. And then when the big push came, I can't remember the day that was, when we took all of Italy and joined forces with the ones coming from the east. And then we went to Rome, and then from Rome we got bivouacked out on the outskirts of Rome, and then we pushed into the Ruhr Valley. That's in Italy there where it's kind of flat, you know. And then we got stopped from there.
So you weren't in Rome for very long? No,
maybe 3-4 days. That's
3-4 days. Yeah. How did the people in Rome receive you?
Well, they were great. They were standing on the sides of the road, happened as waving to us and waving the bottles of wine at us, you know, as we were going by on the trucks. We loaded up on the ships, and we stayed on the ships for about 10-15 days, and then we landed over in France, place where it was taken already, you know. And then we were bivouacked in a certain area where the 3rd Division was in there, you know. It was the whole 3rd Division was in at the time. And I was in G Company, that they call Doggy Company, 3rd Company, you know. We're the rifle company that supported all the other companies, you know. And the artillery was behind us, and that's when we made our attacks. We got on the LCIs, and then they put it on I think it's John's boats or whatever they called them, where a bunch of troops goes on there, and then we practice hitting the beach 2-3 times, and from then we practiced there for about 2 weeks, and then we decided where we were going to go, and then we went to southern France. And when we landed in southern France, there was no resistance at the time. All you had to do was watch out for the mines that they planted, that you would step on them and blow yourself up. That's all.
How long from the time you got off the boat till the time you're on the beach?
Well, maybe an hour or so, or something like that. You know, that's about it.
Yeah.
We hit the beach right away. The guys get out there and take off and run down up the hills and over the banks or wherever it was, you know. So we anticipated anything that was going to happen. Where we wanted to go, what hour, what day, and when. We didn't depend on anybody else. It just was us. Once the artillery quit shelling, that's when we took off. An average soldier on the front lines, he either got C rations or K rations. There was no warm kitchen place where the guys that cook the meals for you or anything. It's been quite a while since we did that. And we mostly ate C rations and K rations, that's all. The morale was real high. Everybody was happy, and some guys were grouchy and stuff like that, but they got straightened out a little bit when the shells started falling. So, but otherwise we did good. Oh, we slept in the evenings mostly, and when I slept, I slept in the foxholes where we were staying, because there was a tank sitting in some of the buildings that we take one day, and then we guarded the tanks so that nobody come up and shoot at us, you know. So.
How often did you get to take a shower and stuff like that?
Not too very often.
No.
Not very often.
So was there ever a situation where you guys maybe like took a small village or took over something and you jump in a house and utilize something?
Nothing.
You guys never really had
We never changed clothes for months.
And months
you know,
and months.
Months and months. Yeah. Well, most of the time we rode home when we were in Fort McClellan, Alabama. I rode to my Rosie, my future wife, and then I rode home to my mother and my sister, and that she would read the letters to my mother, you know. So.
Yeah. But while you were on the front?
Down the front, we used to get those email packages, and that you can write a little bit in there and seal it right over, fold it up and mail it out. You can write a little bit note on them, that's all. But as far as telling people where you were or anything, you couldn't mention that. Yeah. None. I didn't do very much writing when I was fighting during the war for those 2 years. As we were getting farther in, your emotions would grow higher, and you figure on you're going to have a firefight sooner or later, and you get up there and you're kind of nervous, you know, so, and you're shaky, you know. So every day you got up and you're sitting on pins and needles. You didn't know where you're going to go or what's going to happen. We just kept our attack on them. And when they said to move out, then we moved out, and we pushed on further into the country, you know. So there was no living in houses or anything anymore. You lived in the ground. You dug your holes out, and wherever you can dig, get away from the roots and the rocks and everything, and you put your rocks up on top of the hole to protect you a little bit, you know. So. But most of the time it's all dug in. No place we stepped in the houses.
What is the combat actually like in this particular battle?
And one of the battles is we're in contention with tanks, artillery, and rifle fire. And when they would attack us, they'd send a counterattack on us, and then we would return them back and shell them again, and then we'd go up at them for a counterattack. We had a weapons platoon, and our thing, we had machine guns and 60 millimeter mortars. And then we had backup from H Company, which was in the same outfit we were with, that they would protect us with heavy duty mortars, big ones.
The goal every day was probably, let's gain 5 more feet than them every day.
Well, yeah, we gained a little bit more than 5 more feet. We maybe gained more than about 2 miles when we got the artillery and everything came in off the boats, and the tanks, they could help us out, So it was, I'd say it was months when we were in France to push them back, So it took a while. Every day we got orders to attack this area, So, and we'd move up. Well, that was mostly done with tanks and artillery and airplanes, dive bombers, shooting at them and pushing them all back, So as the war carried on, it went a little bit further deeper into their country, So there wasn't many rides. For all us guys. We all walked. We were up and down the hills, up the mountains, and through the woods and everything. It was all walking. There was no riding with the infantry. That's where we took one of these towns, Montelimar. It was, they had knocked out a convoy of Germans with horses and buggies and cars and trucks and tanks that was bombed out by the airplanes. And then we came in there and we took over this town. And there was a bunch of Germans that stayed in one of the buildings there, and they confiscated all the weapons and put them down in a dungeon and surrendered to us because they didn't have nothing to do with it anymore. And we took all the guns and everything and shipped them out into the jeeps and they had. I forget what they used to call those things. There's little camp wagons or whatever they are, where they load up all the stuff and everything in there and take it away, So they take them as prisoners, take the guns away from them, whatever kind of swords, knives, and whatever they had, we took it all away from them. And then they just marched them in droves into one certain town. And there's one big town where they used to keep all the prisoners. And that's when we shipped them all out to them. Oh, I brought some guns with me and a pistol and a couple of swords and dress swords that the soldiers marched around with. Some of the high finagling captains and generals or whatever they were, I brought those home with me, that was all. Well, Colmar is a place where it's a wooded area, and a lot of installations there were built by the Germans to protect they're going into there. But once we overran it, we didn't use the Colmar pocket any longer. We just kept moving on. Maybe we stayed there 2 days maybe, and that's all. We had to get through there in order to keep us moving and pushing all the Germans back again, I tell you what, we was up in the mountains at the time, and we got pulled back, and then we went into the Colmar pocket, and it was shelled with artillery and everything, and planes bombed it. And that's when we broke through. Snipers and everything, pretty intense. Machine guns and all, shooting all over us, So
Would you say it was the first time you were probably really scared?
Well, I was scared when I was on Anzio, and when we took those houses on Anzio in Italy, that's when time I was really scared for me, you know. So I felt that we were pretty well on our way of doing our job the right way, you know. So.
Are you guys running into any of the concentration camps or death camps at any point? Have you guys walked by? Have you been near them?
No, I ran into one. We were way up and close to the borders of France and Germany and those other countries. We came upon one detention camp that was there with people in it, and then we just secured it, and then there was a rear echelon came in with the supervision to take care of the rest of the stuff. Once we went into Germany, we went to Strasbourg, we went up into the mountains, and then we stayed in some of the buildings that were there in the mountains.
Okay. Did you help to keep watch of the Rhine Valley River, or the Rhine River Valley as well?
I was on the Rhine River.
So you took the
road.
road.
We were in the Black Forest when we were there at the Rhine River.
Tell me about the Black Forest.
The Black Forest is like a hunting area, and where people used to hunt for deers and stuff like that. And then we dug holes in there in the ground, you know, made our foxholes, and we stayed in there for a couple of days, and then we moved out again, you know.
So you dig a foxhole, you're sitting in a foxhole. What do you do in a foxhole?
Pray. I sat there and prayed and watched everything, you know. So you're on guard, like you're looking around a little bit, you know. And that's most of the time you did it. As a matter of fact, I still got some of the rosaries that I used to pray with. That was the only thing.
Did a lot of the guys pray? Was prayer an important thing to the guys that you were around?
That I don't know. I know I did my share, so. When I got shot, we were in, I think we were in that Colmar pocket, and I was getting ready to go over the top. We were making our attack, and at that time, it was cold, and it was snowing, and we had white outfits. We took sheets from the houses and put them on ourselves and cut holes in them and to just yourself as a white snow. And that's when I was going over this warm wall, which was made out of stone, and that's when I got shot with by a sniper. Right here, right there. Well, I got a Purple Heart for that, you know. It's right up there. That's all I got.
Did you know you got shot right away?
Yeah, I knew it right away. I could feel it right. I could feel that burning.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Did it hurt really bad?
Not too bad. No. Because the bullet went right straight through. Yeah. You know. So, and it just creased right inside, in between the two bones. You know. So, and then when I got out of the hospital, they took me to the hospital where they was in. They didn't have regular buildings like that. We were in great big tents. They were 16 to 20 bed tents that you stayed in, you know. So. And then when I got a discharge from there, I was shipped out to my company, and it took me to where they were, and I joined my company the following day. But I couldn't find them where they were, so I slept in the church. When I got there, it was dark, you know. I couldn't find him, you know. So.
Were you scared?
Oh, a little bit scared, because I was the only guy that coming in there, you know. So.
Was that, would you say, one of the better night's sleep you got while you were there?
Oh yeah, it was cold.
It was cold, huh?
It was cold there, yeah, at the time.
Was it a Catholic church?
It was a Catholic church, and I slept on the floor right in front of the altar. I did. We were traveling down the road, and I was the runner at the time, and my sergeant told me, go over and tell these people to dig in and sit down and do not move any further. And then when I got to the road, down the road, I hit it, I jumped in the ditch, and I was talking to the guy and telling him what to do, and he had the BAR. That was an automatic rifle. And I ducked my head one time, and he caught a bullet right in his arm. And that's the closest time I ever came again.
Was he okay?
No, yeah, went right to him. We picked it out, we picked it in his hand, and he was a silver bullet right there sitting in his hand. And then we shipped him out with the medics, and they come and got him, you know. So. Oh, one more time I had, when I was in France, when I was in Tarzana, and we took over a building there, and I was looking out the windows like you do now, but they didn't have no glasses in it, you know. And I was looking out with binoculars, and then I heard a projectile come through the building, and went through the building and hit the other side, and it fell in the other room. I jumped down 16 steps in 2 jumps. That's how I left that place, because I was figuring they were going to shoot the artillery at us, you know. It was an armor-piercing shell that they used to come and shoot through the building, and they used for tanks, you know. So, and I touched it, and it was still warm as it went through. Yeah. On the beaches, we didn't usually lose very many guys. And as far as traveling all the way to France and everything, we lost a few guys, but not many. And whatever guys were left, they were either got sick or got the flu or something like that, you know, and that's why they took them out. Well, a lot of guys I lost. Some guys that were in my platoon and in my squad, you know, that you get relations with. And one guy that I used to know that I lived in Roseland with, his name was, I can't remember his name. But he stepped on the mine. He was the closest friend. And he was in bivouac area with me when we were in Fort McClellan, Alabama. And when he made a landing over there in a different area, he stepped on a mine and he was killed. Our company was moved up to the area where they were going to take over the Germans past the Rhine River. And then we got on the bridges, and we walked over the bridges, and then that's when we took over at the Germans, you know. So.
From the time you guys took the Rhine and pushed into Germany, how long did it take you guys to get from the border of France and all the way to Nuremberg? Was that fighting constantly all the way up?
We were fighting constantly all the way up the mountains and wherever you're going, and it was walking all the way. There's no rides all. And you fight, you run across machine guns sitting in the ditches and everything, watching, shooting at you, you know. So you go around them and then you attack them from the rear, you know. So.
What was it like when you guys got to Nuremberg?
Nuremberg was pretty quiet at the time when we got there. I think the Germans have left Nuremberg altogether down there, and we just took care of the town and watched over it, and took over big steeples and bridges and the stuff that was there, that's all. The last I remember was in our attack when we took Nuremberg, Germany. And that was the last time. Then we got pulled out of there.
And then you were coming home?
Then we were coming.
After Nuremberg?
Then we left Nuremberg, and then I had enough points. We stayed in one town over there, and had enough points to get out of the service. They shipped us back to France, and they called distant camps Camp Philip Morris, Camp Lucky Strikes, and different kind of tobacco that the camps they called them. Yeah. And then we shipped out from there. I felt great when I heard that I had enough points to come home, you know. So I forget how many points it was. I can't remember now, right now. It's been so long ago, you know. So I felt very good that I came through everything with all my arms and everything, and a lot of guys that I met were short of legs and arms and stuff like that, you know. So. But I felt good, felt great coming home. When we went from Germany to France, and we shipped out by trucks to Camp Philip Morris, and then we loaded up on boats, and they took us back to the United States. And we loaded up on the Queen Mary. There was 16,000 guys on that boat. The boat ride is like sitting on a luxury liner, like you're going on a cruise, you know. That's how it was. But we slept on a regular, I forget what they used to call those things, but they were all built in racks, and each one had a place where all they were. And we were all on this boat with 16,000 guys on it. It took 7 days to come home. After 21 days sitting on the ocean, going there, you know. So as a matter of fact, I left on October 7th, and I returned on October 7th on the boats. We came into New York, and then we got on the train, the Illinois Central train, and came all the way home into Fort Sheridan in the north side. And we stayed in the bivouac area there, and they recuperated us. We needed dental work or whatever, you know, stuff like that. And then we got on the train again at the Illinois Central, and we came all the way home again. As a matter of fact, I got off on 115th in Kensington.
So did you just walk home from there?
No, we got in the cab with another guy that was on the same train, and he was coming home too. And he was in artillery, I couldn't remember. But he paid for the cab, and I didn't have no money with me. So he dropped me off at my house on 11734 Lafayette, and that's when he left, and I climbed up the stairs and had my big barracks bag with me, you know. So everything. I knocked on the door, and my sister Francie came down and answered the door, and she yelled, "Wow, Stanley's home!" So she's surprised. When I got there, it was 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, geez.
2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, from Kensington, we got on this cab. This guy took us, and the other guy paid for the cab, and I just got out. He said, "You get out. Don't worry about it." You know.
So you got a free ride home after all.
I got a free ride home on a taxi. Yeah. Well, I just greeted. I had all my friends come over, and all my relatives and my sisters and brothers. They all came home, and they all greeted us. You know. So my brother was home already. You know, when I came home. So, and then we had parties and stuff like that, and enjoyed each other. So.
Now, while you were over there, did you know at all where your brother was while you were fighting?
No. All I knew was when I first went into the service, he was. They made the beach landing over in Japan, New Caledonia. That's when I last heard of him, and he's in the artillery there. I got the combat badge when I first started. I got my service stripes, And each one of the gold ones there, those 4 lines, those were every 6 months that you were there. We got the Presidential Citation and one of the medals. And then the other ones were the Good Conduct medals and the battle stars that we fought in different battles. There were 5 battle stars that we had. We got the Silver Star, the Bronze Star, and the Purple Heart, and a Good Conduct medal. The most important part was when we took Anzio Beachhead, and we moved into Italy that day, and we could see the artillery shooting off the top of the hills, way up on the mountains. And the most important part was helping our guys to fight the Germans from house to house, and then back and forth. And we took some of those houses, we took them 2-3 times. And there was nothing left of them, you know. There are all holes in them, you know. So. But that was the most important part. One's the greatest thing, the others, they're battle hungry, and they were very, very good fighters. And they joined right in with making a camaraderie with everyone, you know. So they were great. They were gung-ho guys, that's all. Well, I think the schools should teach a lot of these kids what went on during our generation at the time of the war, because a lot of them are not being told anything about it now. To believe in your country, that's the main thing, and that you're an American citizen and you love your country, that's the main thing. So, that's all I know.